Now your time has come for you to settle down.
Thanks, Dad. No, I appreciate you, seriously.
No tears?
I'm a military guy. I'm a tough guy. We don't do tears.
No, I'm just glad you're here.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Listen, we'll talk to you guys about Married at First Sight, dealing with our brother Nate. And we've chosen a particular topic here. Again, I may be slightly reaching and extending the topic a little bit. And I may be looking a bit too deep into it. But I just want to kind of get a perspective here, because we know from Nate from episode 1 where he said about difficulties between himself and his parents in terms of his upbringing. But specifically dealing with Nate in this episode, it was something that his father said to him, which was quite interesting for me. And it was the fact that his father said, listen, I'm a military man, we don't cry. And I listen, I think it's amazing. I think that's cool. But I think also this is something that could be a signal of how he was taught and what he was given from his father, right? In terms of emotional support. Because oftentimes father figures, their emotional support is key, but they don't realize that. They think just being there and paying for money, a roof over your head, is enough. But a lot of young men suffer because there's no emotional connection between themselves and their father, or at least there's no emotional safety where they can express their feelings. And so that comment about, I'm a military man, I don't cry, taught me a lot, I believe. But again, we could be pushing it a little bit, but it's always good to discuss these things. If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, really know what it is, baby, you got the middle rose, Stay hydrated, because the streets out there, they are hot, okay? They are hot. All right, let's get into this particular video. Talking obviously a little bit more about Nate, his position. The reason why I focused more on the father figure issue is because there was something that happened in episode 1 when he was talking. When he was with the guys and the stripper situation, and the way he told the girl to get on her knees. I said, wow, this is very direct. Okay. But also as well, because, this episode, he also said something quite interesting. He said he wanted to have a place where he could talk to his partner about all the insecurities he's got. And I think that's quite interesting, because in episode 1, he also mentioned something about having an anxiety, and his anxiety will skyrocket if he didn't have the support of his friends. And I said, why friends and not mother and father? And up until this point, we haven't really had much information about mother and father until this episode. We saw the father figure. And so that means there's some disconnect there that we haven't really seen. Now, they don't have to be on camera, but there's barely any conversation around them as well. So more than likely, there is some kind of dysfunction that's happening there. There's some zoo, 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 zoo that's happening. If you don't know what that means, it means that there's often a sound that a computer makes when it seems like it's going, it's running, but it's zoo, 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 zoo. It's making a particular noise, that there's oftentimes a little bit of dysfunction there that potentially is going to play a role in how a person's going to operate. Now, with a father figure that tells you and says this, I don't cry because, I'm a military man, means more than likely he probably might not express his emotions very well either, in general, because there's an emphasis being put on crying, and more than crying potentially looking like it's weak. Therefore, if that's the case, more than likely there's also probably a negative outlook on how emotions also affect an individual. Crying is for the weak, or there is no time to cry, or there's no time for emotions, we say, because oftentimes we say people are emotional when they cry, when really actually emotions isn't tears. Tears is a response to an emotion, but it isn't the emotion. Right? There's no such thing as emotion of tears, is there, really? Right? Tears is a response to an emotion. Someone can cry when they're happy, someone can cry when they're sad. Tears are a response or a behavior or even a reaction of an individual to an emotion. And so to then denounce tears can potentially mean that there's probably a denouncing of emotions, meaning that a man grows up in a space where he's not able to openly express how he feels. So what I feel like is, especially when you mentioned about his insecurities later on, that what can be a case for Nate is, if he doesn't feel heard, seen, appreciated in a particular way, That is, I guess, in like he said, the covering of his insecurities and things like that. They can be triggering for him. And the thing about this is when you have an emotionless or less emotional father figure, the issues that play behind it. Okay, the issues that play behind it is that you also become distant with your partner. Avoidant, dismissive individual people tend to find it very easy to detach. Hence why the mention of many women, he's just even as before the father figure speaks, he says, it seems like you're coming into your own right now, basically, and the women are in the background now, right? So there was obviously clearly a time for Nate where women were part of his equation. A lot of women were part of his equation. Hence why that comment to that stripper in episode 1 was just so confident. It's natural to him. He's done it before. He's like, get on your knees. And it's naturally that's him. He's been probably a womanizer, or maybe he's just smooth with the words, smooth with the ladies as well in the past. And that's been his cover up, because you see what happens is sometimes we can use sex as a reassuring tool for your lack of ability to emote healthily. And when I say this, emotional regulation, understanding, processing, expressing, if you can't express very well emotions, you can't have the language to express yourself very well, what happens is we tend to act out physically. And so what we've seen with Nate, I believe, is that if he was having, and I said this as well from episode 1 review, I said about Nate in our live panel, was that it's interesting for Nate because he mentioned something about, he mentioned something along the lines of with women, hard to get over his past with women. And I said, what's his past? What is his past? What kind of badness is his past? What kind of things was happening that is hard to get over? And then you realize, okay, if you've got an emotional distant father, then using women become your incubator for pain. You can cheat on them. You can become rude and disengaged and non-caring about their emotions and their feelings. You can use them for sex, use them for money, use them for their time. You can use them for counselor. Put them in positions where you're just taking without really giving. And it's because if you've got that emotional detachment, what happens is you feel detached from those feelings. Therefore, it's a coldness that comes in the way that you approach certain things, but you don't feel it because, like I said, you're not in tune with your emotions. And so it can make you strong-minded, but weak in your expression, and it makes you act out. And so he mentioned that he wanted to have Stacia understand him. He wanted to have Stacia get him and his insecurities. And I think he's now looking for that understanding place and soft landing place for him to be able to express how he feels. Let me see if I can get that for you guys as well. Hopefully I can.
34-year-old gentleman, living in San Diego, downtown.
Living in San Diego, bro.
Yeah.
Big switch up. So
I'm excited.
You feel you ready for the big step, huh?
I'm ready. I feel like
All right, before I get copyright, let's not look. But he's about to explain it to his barber, what his feelings are in regards to the situation, how he felt about the insecurity part. And I think this is really key. So I'm going to try and find an exact thing for you so you can actually see it eye to eye and get it as well. Okay, cool, fantastic. I've got it. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So he just talks. It's a very brief conversation. It's not a very long conversation with a barber.
hopefully she understands me, because I might have some little, habits or, insecurities that pop up. But hopefully she's understanding enough to truly understand me as a person.
And listen, everyone will say, look, well, everyone's looking for understanding. You're absolutely right, everyone is. But when we mention it in a particular way, I think you highlight that and you say that that's a very important thing for the individual person, meaning that something's made them focus on that more than other things. And so I think he's searching for that understanding, for that care, that soft landing place. And I think Stacia can be that. It's just whether she feels safe also with him. I think that they definitely got that chemistry, right? So I think the immediate chemistry of sex, everything like that, it's like Michaela and Zach all over again. But if they don't deal, if they come down we're not able to come down and actually talk and actually become a safe place for each other. Meaning, I hold space for you to express yourself and not take things personally in the moment, because I think the immediate thing, I think there can be sparks that will fly in the beginning, and I think there can be things that can be said in between that time which might be ignored at first because of the honeymoon phase, but then it comes out later on as pain. And so what we hope for is that there's a smooth transition from that sexual chemistry into an actual emotional connection where they're able to express one to another. But having an emotionless father definitely makes you distance from emotion, and it also means it makes it easier to detach. And bear in mind that she's also a very independent person. It could work in their favor, right? You think, well, they're both independent. It could work great. Yeah, but then it also creates distance, because really and truly, hyper-independent people really do want to be interdependent. Not independent, interdependent. They want to trust people, but they struggle to. And so any signs of abandonment, people leaving them, people disappointing them, people embarrassing them, people humiliating them, and those kind of signs where they feel there's pain coming, distance is created immediately. And that's the difficulty behind having an emotionless father, that how quickly you can go into being cold with a person. But listen, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded.
Little black, you know what